late night last night, so it was
you were out last night, you were telling me.
This family here. Wednesday night, so yesterday was a really rough day around our office. The dude, I mean, he'd been with us 13 years. I hired him. Fucking jacked and not 100 pounds overweight. I was like, I don't know What's up, everybody? Welcome to Common Sense, the pod. I could not pass up this opportunity. I had to make sure that we got this in. This was something we had slated for a little later in the year, and we had to make shit happen because that's what we do. We're not going to just talk about it and tell you guys all that stuff. We're going to actually get out here and get after it. So I want to introduce you guys to the man, the myth, the legend, the Irish motherfucker, Mr. Derek Rowe. What's up, my friend?
All is good, my man. Garrett, thank you so much for having me on, and it's a fucking pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I like your intro. Exactly. It's about taking action. We were talking about this previously. Not enough people taking action.
No, man. So many people just like to talk about it and come up with these big ideas, and they either start and stop, or they don't have the discipline to follow it all the way through. And I mean, that's what we're here to teach them, like show them the difference and all that. And I mean, I can't think of anybody better in the short time I've known you, because man, I'm gonna be honest, like no homo, I enjoy the shit out of every message I get from this man. He has a cool ass accent, but like every message I get from him, man, I am ready to go. Like I'm ready to go, like run through a wall. He gets me all jazzed up and ready to go. I'm like, shit, I need to go to the gym. I gotta knock something out. Like I gotta go. So man, thank you for that. It's been fun getting to know you over the last few weeks, man.
Absolutely, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And not only you, Garrett, you showed me, you've welcomed me with open arms. Everyone I have met, I'm only here 2 days, has been as welcoming. And they say the Irish people are hospitable, but I would say the Americans are top of the fucking tree when it comes to this. So yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure. Well, man, I'm just gonna kind of let you start off with your story and tell everybody. I mean, I gave everybody a little tidbit of it so they kind of know a little bit about who Derek Rowe is, but let everybody know a little bit about you and your story, man, and we'll go from there.
100%. So, I alluded to it a little bit with you earlier on. I grew up on a farm, Garrett, and a lot of people go, "You were a farmer?" Is that fucking right? And I'm a proud farmer. Father was a hard-working man. He was tough. Mother was a housewife. There was 5 kids, and mother, very good-looking woman. Father was a very striking man. There's plenty of cowboys around here. Do you know those hands? They're fucking rough. That's the way my father was. But from a young age, I would say there was something off. I was the youngest of 5 kids, so there was something a little off with me. I didn't feel maybe as I should have felt, whether that's, happy, whatever. And I think we were a little bit emotionless, a little bit too much alcohol going on. And I'm not here. Listen, I want to say to the listeners, you're a family. You stand shoulder to shoulder with your family. And I'm not here to disrespect anybody. Because what it comes down to at the end of the day, and what I know now is, this goes back generations. If there's a certain generation under Dune, it's whether it's the drinking, whether it's the drugs, that's what they know. And that comes down to the lack of knowing, the lack of fucking skills. And I understand that now. But when there was 5 kids, we grew up, we knew what hard work was. We were out working from the age of 4 or 5. So we had a little bit of pocket money. And we knew what it was. Father was a little, I would say, listen, couldn't show his emotions like my mother. But yeah, we were lacking a little bit. And then there was a lot of bullshit going on in the house. There was a lot of drinking. So this affected me, right? This affected me. And I would say I was an angry child. But I had a lot of friends. I played a lot of what we call football, which is not NFL, by the way, guys. It is soccer. Yeah, I find that word a little strange to say. So we were playing a lot of soccer. We were out and about doing what kids should have been doing. We getting a little bit of scraps here and there. But leading on from that, my mother then, she left my dad. There was a lot of in-house bullshit going on, a lot of fighting, way too much alcohol consumption. People were unhappy within the household. I ended up staying with my dad, and from then on I said, fuck this. I was not myself. So if I say I have a 9-year-old now, and it's chalk and cheese to how he is now, to how I was growing up. I was unhappy. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't know what any of this was. So my mother left. I stayed with my father. That caused a lot of bullshit and a lot of friction, we will say. So from there, I said, right, what do I do? And I tell this story. My only ambition, I was 10. I didn't want to be Derek Rowe. Couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was unhappy, and I was lonely, and I was scared. And that's like looking back on, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want that
For
any.
a 10-year-old.
It's crazy, yeah?
Yeah.
But the even crazier thing, we used to have this paper, and it was called the Sunday World. And it used to fucking glorify drug dealing. So I was, oh man, look at these people, like this is what I want to be. And I was nearly fantasizing about being a drug dealer. So then the next thing I was sent away to this Irish school. It was called Ring. So it was a year where you learn, so we have our own language, it's called Gaeilge. And my mother was adamant. Now my mother was gone at this stage, was adamant I go there. She wanted all of us to go here. And I don't know whether it was a way of getting rid of us, Garrett. And listen, my mother's long gone, and God rest her soul. She was a great woman. But again, a lot of this, what was going on was programming and pattern, again, going back generations. So I can look at it now and go, okay, do you know what? They just didn't have the skills to cope. They didn't have the skills to deal with what me and you know and what I'll share here. So I went to this school, and it was a boarding school. I fucking hated it. And I got in a lot of trouble, and I fought a lot. I was only 11 at this stage, so I was in a lot of trouble, a lot of fights. I ran away, and they were there, listen, you know, this boy is hard work. It's tough to handle. So I stayed there and I did the year, and I actually met a guy who's still my best friend to this day. So we're friends 30 years. And that's a friendship.
Yeah.
That's a proper friendship. And from there, life went downhill. So then we went to, you call a high school, I went to secondary school. I didn't like the secondary school I was going to. So, you know, I went up one day and I basically just fucking hit a guy I didn't like. And so they didn't want me there. And I went to the school I did want to go to, where all my older friends were there. And I was known as a little bit of a, the funny thing with me, I'm never that person, right? I wasn't a violent person, but I felt I had to portray myself, because here I was a boy that I didn't like who I was. So if I could make up this person, this type of hard guy, it was a bullshit persona, basically. But I pulled it off very well. And when I went to this school, I was in a fight the first day, and then I got attacked by the guy's older brother, and this was happening weekly. Weekly, we were fighting at the back of the city. We had a school, and there was an estate, like what we call a housing estate. Dude, it's like a housing development. Mm-hmm. And we go, right, you're fighting him, and the two of you are going to fight at fucking lunchtime, and that's it. So you'd go around and you'd have a scrap, and that'd be it. And then I was getting suspended, and my sister at the time, my sister was somebody, right, who really was like a motherly figure to me. So she would have looked after me a lot throughout the years. And she was at home with my dad at the time. And she goes like, what the fuck are you doing? She goes, school is wrong again. You've been in another fight, this and that. So eventually they just said, he's out. I was 14. So my father said, you're working now. So I was out on the farm. And at this time I was still pretty lonely. I still didn't have many friends. Because I was just, I don't know whether it was my attitude. I wasn't getting any leadership. I wasn't getting any real guidance. And if I look back now, and if I seen that, you know, the world does lack this. And the school didn't see it. The school pointed fingers. Other people pointed fingers at me. I'm the problem. But in natural fact, they were the fucking problem. That should have took more of, we would say, an interest in why is he acting like this?
Yeah.
There must be something going on. This behaviour is unacceptable. But they didn't. And this went on. So I was worked on the farm. Loved it. Bit of money.
It's easier to just label somebody something and
Absolutely.
like just push it to the side and not acknowledge it. It takes a lot more effort to actually take an interest and coach or teach somebody up, especially a child.
Well, this is it. And that's why the system is bullshit. You know, and this is why I do what I do now, and it's teaching men how to be men. And it's fucking mad. Why should we have to do that? But we do it, and people like us take that responsibility. And you know what? I'm proud of what I do now. But see, I wouldn't be here now without these experiences. So if we go back to the story, I was then sent to live with my nanny, so my grandmother. I went to another school there. Same thing started. Now, I was taking drugs at this time. Started off. Now, you have to understand, in Ireland, we drink very young, yeah? So Ireland is a fucking mad country, yeah? It was.
So what's the youngest? When did you actually first have alcohol?
Okay, this is a good question. And this isn't rare, what I'm about to say. So we grew up around pubs. So we would be in the pub on the weekends. Mother and father, they'd be with their friends, and we'd be going, right, there's a pound. So what we used to have money called pounds. And it was called the punt in our language. In Gaelic, it was called the punt. So for 1 punt, you could go to the shop and buy a fucking bag of sweets that size. Or you could go buy a bag of chips and a sausage or a burger. So I remember we'd get hyper, and my nanny was there. My nanny would stay with us every weekend, my mother's mother. And she'd go, Derek, come here. And she'd give me a sip out of her brandy. Now, we were only 7, 8, little sip out of the brandy. So, but we grew up in it. So we were around alcohol. So like monkey see, monkey do. And we had fun times back then, but there was always something, a little bit of attitude with me, a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I always knew there was something wrong, but I could never go, what is it? What is wrong with me? It was fucking mad. So I went to live with my nanny. I started taking ecstasy tablets then. Girls with the wrong people, the evil fighting. And then she lifted me up. My nanny is a real Catholic woman, tough. And I was in bed and I didn't go to school one day. And all I got was, she caught me by the ear. You're going home to your father and I never want to see you again. So she put me in her car, drove me home. And all my father knew was work. Okay, you're going out to work. He didn't know how to deal with me. So this went on for another year. Then I went to London. I told my mother, and she started crying. Why are you going to London? I was there, just wanting a new experience. I was 16. I had £900 saved up. That's where I'm off to. And I moved around over there, party, tookies, tried a little bit of cocaine, worked in pubs, worked in clubs. I blagged my way. Do you understand? They all thought I was a little older. I was only 16, so I always looked a little bit older. So I blagged my way through all of this. And, I lived with some fucking mad people. Lived with some dangerous people. I didn't pay rent. I used to just hop from one place to the other. I met some good people, but again, the fighting was there, always. The drinking, a lot of ecstasy at that time. And then I came back home, went to work again. Then I moved to Dublin to live with cousins. And that didn't last. That worked out. I went back to school, actually. And that lasted about 6 months. And that's when I started selling drugs properly. I had started selling drugs 3 years previously in school. Little bits of hash to my friends. And that's when it all began. And then, that was my childhood experiences. A little bit crazy.
Little bit. I don't know many that could take it back that far. But I mean, I think it's interesting too that a different dynamic, because I think a lot of people assume if you just started telling your story without talking about your father, they'd be like, where was his father in this picture? Like most people would assume a man that didn't have that kind of upbringing and stuff probably was raised by a single mom. Yeah. And yet that's not always the case, like as in your case, you were saying, oh, my dad was there. He just didn't know what to do with me.
Exactly.
So it's work on the farm, get to work, start grinding. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to learn those lessons or get anywhere with that. It's on your own.
Well, this is it. And again, I get on very well with my dad now. My mother died about 8 years ago. So they just didn't know. And I've no problem with that now. But for me, I was there. You could say I was angry. And you see, when you're confused and you're there fuck, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do. I know what work is. Nothing in my life seems to be going well. I was just an unhappy person. And that unhappiness will lead to a build-up of anger and resentment of the world. And then you see what happens. You attract like-minded individuals as a friendship group. These guys that have come from a broken home, and then you congregate. And, what's going to happen with that is what ensues is going to be more trouble. So, I extracted a lot of wisdom from my childhood. I sit here now, and I'm not long doing what I'm doing, but I wouldn't be able to do what I was doing now unless I had lived that particular life. So, people say, certain things are meant to happen for a reason. Now, I had a lot of regret up till a few years ago, but actually when I genuinely look back now, I go, no, I was meant to go through all this and actually extract what I needed to extract out of it, the wisdom, the fucking learnings, the teachings, and then be able to offer the world something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And show other men, not necessarily how I live, but show them how to step the fuck up. How to, you know, a lot of people, you see, if we look at wealth, people go, oh, money. But it's not all money. A lot of guys I know have money, but they don't have anything else. They can be out of shape. They, fuck's sake, their marriages are breaking down. They're not the great dad. Maybe they're not there for their kids. So that, you know, wealth is everything accumulated into one, and it's been having wealth in all areas. It's been family rich, as you know. You know, family really is everything. Environment is everything. And that's on us to create that environment, but it's always starting internally. It's the behavior is out here. People can behave a certain way, but have to understand it's coming from how we think. It's coming from how we talk to ourselves. It's coming from the people we surround ourselves with.
Yeah, and a lot of it boils down, in my opinion, to discipline. And if you can create discipline in those areas to start moving down those paths, I don't think it's, like you said, it's not one or the other. And you can be really good at this, but you suck at these four things. It's just like we were talking today when we ran into each other at the gym. Yeah. You know, I was working out with a friend, and, you know, we were talking about it afterwards, you and I, and it's like, you can't out-train a good diet. I mean, like, this guy goes to the gym 2 times a day, but he does jack shit. And then on top of it, I guarantee his diet is not on point, because otherwise he'd be having, like, crazy results. If you and I had time to go to the gym twice a day, I mean, like, I can only imagine what we'd be able to do. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, it is, but this is the problem with the world as well. Like, you know, if you look around, where are the leaders? Where are the men?
Yeah.
You know, fair play to the ladies out there, because the ladies are actually stepping all over the men. And if you talk to an ambitious lady, they will go, I cannot find a man.
Yeah.
I cannot find an ambitious man who is leading by his actions. And yeah, it is important to be in shape, both mentally and physically. It is important to have respect for yourself. It is important to hold yourself in high esteem without ego.
Yeah.
Without ego. But, like, you know, it comes down to, if you're not going to respect yourself, this is the problem. You talk about this guy, and I've seen him. He clearly doesn't respect himself. And this is about opening eyes. I'm never about pointing fingers, or I'm never about judgment.
Yeah.
But it's about, okay, when I lead by my actions, you're either going to follow or you're not. Now, it's far better to tell someone the truth, point blank to your face. Hey, you fucking look like a piece of shit. Now, I'm saying that as a friend to people, and if it's the truth, it is the truth. They're either going to like it, or they will accept it and go, do you know what, you're right. Some people will take action, others will make excuses, others will fall back into victim mode. And listen, what's going on in the world now, as far as I can see it, it's just the core is soft. But I also believe there's enough good people in the world to turn that around and make things far better. And there is, man, there's fucking great people, like the two you guys here. Everyone I've met in America, some great guys where I'm from. So there is enough solid lads, because I was telling you I was in Ibiza. And we were doing man shit. Yeah. We were doing Fight Club. We were trekking up mountains, carrying men on our back, carrying blocks. You know, just getting a fucking brotherhood. And I think that's what men are missing.
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I mean, there's connection issues. There's, you know, accountability. You know, there's been a lot of weak men creating bad times and leading other weak men. And there's not enough of that to build up strong men and stronger relationships. And do you run into this a lot with your coaching and stuff? Because it was interesting. You were saying earlier, this is my story. Yeah. And this is the things I had to go through to be where I am now. This was talked about a lot when I did that speaking conference you and I were talking about. I don't feel like I have a crazy story. You know, like, everybody doesn't have to have a crazy story. You have a story, and you have stuff that if you really, in my opinion, dig down and find what it is that has been good for you, what's made you successful, and you're open and willing to talk about the hard times and the struggles, that is your story. Absolutely. That is what other people will relate to, and that will help them be able to understand because you're sharing your own experience. It's not that you have to have some, like I didn't have to be a drug dealer at 16 and go through this to be able to have a story and sit here and talk with you. Do you see that with a lot of these men, that's usually like one of the first excuses you get of like, well, I don't have some, like, Derek, I could never do what you do.
Yeah, but you see, we're all unique.
Yeah.
You're unique. I'm unique. And like, we will, our vibe at the end of the day, our energy will attract our tribe. I've seen this. I've experienced it firsthand. And you see, I'm only telling my story as fucked up as it was. Like, I was embarrassed of my story. My family were embarrassed of me.
Yeah.
But then, like, if you look back, you're embarrassed of me. But you see, the Catholic Ireland was brush everything under the carpet, pretend it didn't happen. That's how Catholics were.
Yeah.
We were staunch Catholic. We went to church
Go and
every
repent.
Sunday. I had an uncle who was a fucking priest. Do you know what I mean? And the culture, I'm going to call it alcoholism. Like, it's daily drinking. It's functioning. They're functioning alcoholics. That's normalized in my family, but it's not only our family. I'm not saying we're unique in any way, but you see, when you start sharing the truth, a man, a woman, it doesn't matter. They have to be truthful. And if you can't give yourself an honest review, and for the viewers listening, you're going nowhere. Honesty starts with, hey, I like these parts of my life, I don't like these parts of my life. Then you can move forward. And when people can be a little bit shocked at the start, Jesus, you can't say things like that. That's what they used to say to me. But actually what started happening was, I had these men coming to me and going, fuck's sake, this is how I am operating now. This is how I am feeling now. So what am I doing for the world? What are you doing for the world? What's anyone? When they start speaking their truths, you're actually giving back to the world. It's opening people's eyes. They're taking in and going, okay, I'm not alone, because genuinely people think they're sitting at home and they're fucking by themselves. No one else feels like that. Because when I start doing my videos, my brother used to say, Jesus Christ, you can't say that shit about the family. But I said, it's the truth. It is the truth. Now they don't give a fuck, like, because they're desensitized to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing these videos that long. It's only 16, 17 months. But it's kicked on, and I know I've only come a small bit of the way. But, momentum is a great thing. But when you start sharing that specific message, people are at home going, fucking hell, man, like, he's talking to me.
Yeah.
They're looking around their shoulder. And, I tell the truth.
Absolutely, because looking back on it, you and I only started conversing about, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And it's because of the Apex Live event we're going to with Ryan Stewman. Yeah. You're speaking at it this Saturday. I shared a bunch of that earlier, so I don't know if there's still tickets or not if you guys want to go see that, but DM Derek, me, Ryan, we can try to point you in the right direction if you try to go to that. And it's not expensive. I think tickets are like $99.
$99, yeah.
So
get on.
If you guys want to go there, it's an all-day event. He's got tons of big speakers coming in. But back to the point was, when Ryan shared who was coming, I was like, cool, I want to see who these people are. You were the first one I clicked on. I started watching some of your videos, and I was like, you know how when you meet somebody or you watch somebody, meeting you today ahead of time without it being planned or anything, you're like, man, I'd ride around with that dude. Like that's one of my dudes. That dude is real as fuck. That dude is himself, is no different. Like what y'all see in his videos and everything else, that's that man all the time. What more do you want out of somebody or a friend? Yeah. You want them to be real with you. And watching your videos, I was like, holy shit, man. Like, I got to sit down with this dude. Like, I want to get to know this guy. Like, that's my type of people. Like, when you see people put that stuff out there, because I don't think you say the word addiction, and not everybody wants to come to terms with addictions either. And most people want to look at addictions as just drugs or just alcohol. There are a lot more, and you're really real about that. You're like, shit, I was addicted to porn once. You're like, I was addicted to XYZ. That's real. And a lot of us are. A lot of us go through that shit, and you don't even realize it till you start hearing somebody, and you hear them talk about it, and you're like, fuck, I'm just as bad. Like, maybe I do. Maybe I need to start checking that. And then if you do start checking those things, what starts to change in your life? You know, like you start seeing things. If you keep doing the same shit over and over again, it's the definition of insanity. And you're not going to make any progress in anything. So I find that, man, that was super powerful to hear you go on there and talk those things. I mean, we were talking about today, I was like, man, I am still, even though I've cut out nicotine in certain areas, nicotine still kicks my ass, man. Like, I mean, I don't want to give up cigars, but, you know, I quit dipping 3 years ago. That was one of the hardest things I did. But now I've got these little Zen pouches because I still want that nicotine buzz, especially when I'm in the gym. I want to throw that little pouch in and get going. But then you forget about it because it's so easy to do, because those little nicotine pouches, although it's not like dipping, I know that's different because you guys don't really have that over in Ireland or Malta, but when you dip, you got to spit. So you're always carrying around a bottle or a cup so that you can spit in it, right? The spitting part is actually the hardest part to break. You start moving to those little Zen pouches and stuff, well, guess what? You don't have to spit with those. They're flavored like whatever you want. Lemonade, strawberry, cherry, and you just throw that thing in. It can be in there for hours, and you just forget. And you take one out, and you don't even think about it. Next thing you know, 5-10 minutes later, you're throwing another one in without even thinking about it. So addiction can be so many things, and really, we're addicted to a lot of bad habits in all parts of our lives.
It's habits, right? For me, right, when addiction, I did say addiction, right, previously, and now when I talk to people, because you see, it's the habit, and how is a habit built? You see, this is what people don't understand, right? So I've went through the whole system since I was young. So my mother brought me to a therapist when I was 13. I fucking robbed her when I went in,
Robbed his therapist.
Right.
Haven't heard that one before.
Now, she didn't know this, right? There was shit lying around. There was a nice chain, but I was there, what am I doing here? Like, whereas you see, the problem was being put on me. So when you're in that type of system, you begin to think you've labeled OCD, bipolar. I've been labeled all these things. So you begin to believe it and you go, listen, I genuinely believed I'm fucked. This is my life, right? But when you look at a habit is created by the doing of something. Over and over, it starts with a thought, then it starts with an action, then you attach a feeling to it. And like, you know, for what we were talking about, it gave us a good hit, whether that's the alcohol, whether that's the drugs, whether that's the cigars, whether that's the chewing of fucking tobacco. You know, you feel all right after it, you feel good. So it's going after that, and that's the internal thing. That's I'm not going to get too deep here, but that's the fucking unconscious behavior. Yeah? Because the behavior, the habit leads to the behavior. So, like, you know, we have to have the fucking knowledge before we can change the behavior. But what that system does is just tell you, hey, just say no. Yeah, no, you said about discipline. Discipline is an absolute skill. Focus is a skill. Me and you weren't born with that. We have to, how do we get good at the skill? You get good at the doing of it. But you see, these habits go far beyond just using discipline. You use discipline to implement a specific, to stop the fucking habit. Therefore, it changes your behavior. But listen, I didn't know any of this, and this is the type of stuff I teach. But we got to go out. We got to go out and roll our sleeves up. Cut through the shit. Do the fucking work. It's like going to the gym. Yeah, we could go to the gym like your mate and do absolutely zero. Oh, I go to the gym. No, you fucking don't. You're a fat fuck. Do you know what I mean? Grow up.
Yeah.
I will listen. I have CEOs, I have business owners on the program. 70% of them are you would look at them. Yeah? You go, whoa, they have a good life. And then they come to me and I know the truth. The truth is they're fucking broken. Men. They're not looking after themselves mentally. They're not looking after themselves physically. Most of their marriages are either broken or in disarray, which then affects the kids, as in was my case. So that is not wealth. They come and we create more wealth. And actually, do you know what happens when we upgrade their mental well-being, their physical well-being, their relationships? They make more money in their business. They're able to go out and show their communities how to live a better quality life. This is my only purpose. Like, people talk about purpose and I think they're full of shit. But actually, look at him going on about purpose. I now know what that means. I have a duty to these men. Now, we have a very small amount of females, but you know, it's a very male orientated program.
Yeah.
A lot of masculinity going on in there because it's.
Yeah, I didn't figure it was a lot of women when you call them
there
cunts
is.
a lot of time. I was like,
But there is, man.
that probably wouldn't go over real well.
It's a small minority, but they're tough women. And up to females that are listening, because the females are taking over. And the men have to now step up. And it is learning what goes on internally, like mindset. People go, whoa, what's mindset? Well, mindset is how you think and how you talk. So it's, you know, it's visual, it's sounds, it's all of these things. That's mindset. It's either going to upgrade your life or it's going to downgrade your life, whatever way you use that. And I didn't know any of this, so we don't know what we don't know.
That, and I think when you start down any one of those paths, man, it just starts the ball rolling. If you can just have the discipline to stick through it. And, you know, I've talked about this a lot lately on the last few shows because this was a breakthrough for me on thinking about this, man. I mean, I read all these books. I've gone to all these seminars, did all these things over the years growing up. And I was so caught up with like trying to figure out what my purpose and my passion was.
Yeah.
I mean, because I felt lost. I was like, man, even though all these different times in my life, I can look at like, man, I've been really successful at this age. Or, man, like, I remember my first goal that my dad, you know, he didn't make $100,000 in a year until like the very end of his career. Yeah. And my dad died at a really young age. You know, he died at 56 when I was 24 years old. So my first goal was like, man, I'm going to make six figures. Yeah. And then when that came and gone, like, man, so like I'd done these things, but at the same time, if you'd gotten me one-on-one and we were really talking, I was lost, man. I mean, I was just going through the motion. I had singular goals. I was all over the place in a lot of areas. I didn't have a focus. And I was searching for those answers. And I felt like I really had to be able to define it, write it down, because I was big on goals and to-dos and tasks and all those things. And that if I was more organized or I did this or I did that, and I was just all over the place. But I heard somebody a while back when I was at BK Live, and I forget who it was, and I need to look up this guy's name again because I remember him because he was an awesome speaker, and he owns Dorothy House. He's a musician. He's big in the advertising marketing world. And everything's really cool that he does, and it radiates from him. But he said something, man, that just stuck with me, and he said, everybody gets caught up worrying about what their passion or their purpose is. Quit worrying about that shit. Do the things you're working on and doing with passion, with a purpose. Absolutely. And then he goes, don't get caught up on the purpose part, but like do it passionately. And when you're doing those things, that all will come. You'll find it in that journey. And don't just get caught up on having to be able to label it, define it. If you just did things with passion and gave it your best, you're going to get there. Your journey will lead you down that road.
Listen, it's like this. We have to have an outcome. There's an outcome, right? Why are you doing this podcast? Why am I going to go? What's the outcome of my talk tomorrow? What's the outcome of the gym session in the morning? Everything has an outcome. So it starts with what is the outcome. Then we have to chunk it back down, and like we're looking at habits. Like people go on, 21 days to a habit. You don't even build a habit in 90 days. 90 days, you become consistent at doing something. 12 months creates a habit. And what I mean by that is it's automatic. We are programmed no different than a fucking computer. If you're going to do something on repeat, you're going to put your thought behind it. You're going to do it. You're going to put feeling behind it. Eventually, it's going to become an automatic program where no matter, and that's why you see people fail, and then you see people go, especially the gym. Oh yeah, I'm going to go to the gym, and you'll hear this story, I'm going to go to the gym now, and they'll do it. They'll do it for 4 weeks, they'll do it for 8 weeks, and then something will happen. And they'll go, oh, I'm going to go out and do that concert. And they don't go back to the gym for 8 weeks, but then they'll repeat this cycle for the rest of their lives. They will get, like your friend, they will get nowhere, right? Yeah. Whereas this is about creating well-formed, what I call well-formed successful habits. It's habitual construction. It's like what that speaker said.
Yeah.
You just fucking do things to the best of your capabilities. It's the basic things done right. Basic things done right. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's not glamorous. It's pretty fucking boring. But on the other side of that, then you can look back and go, do you know what? I'm actually feeling good. But people are looking for this goal of, I want to be happy. If you went out on the street and you asked 10 people, what do you want? They'll tell you some bullshit, I want to be happy. That's not a goal. You can become happier from achievement, but a goal has to be very specific. Like I would ask you, how much money do you want to make in 2 years' time? Now, if you gave me a specific amount, that's a clear goal for your mind. It's the same for your fitness. Oh, I want to look well. That's not a fucking goal. This is the problem. We need to be specific. Break it down into 3 to 5 steps that you repeat. Then when a couple of them get a little bit more consistent, we'll do them and we'll start looking at other parts of our life that we want to improve. But you see, people don't want that. People want some fucking magic pill, or they want somebody to come in and go, oh, it's much easier. You know, there's a much easier route. There is no easy route. It's as easy as people make it on themselves by doing the work they're currently not doing.
Yeah.
We can't get away from that. But people want to get away from the work. They expect it to be handed to them. Whereas actually, let's not have any expectations. Expect yourselves to show up every day, do a little bit better, give our best, and I can then guarantee whether it's 12 months, 24 months, 36 months down the road, the results will be night and day. Their financials, their relationships, their mental, their physical, the 4 key areas. It's what I work on within the program. Everything improves. When the man upgrades his mental, upgrades his physical, offers that man to his fucking woman or his new relationships, is the best that he can be, you bring that to your business, man. It absolutely fucking explodes.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what was that defining moment in your life when you decided to leave behind the addictions and to conquer those demons and start your journey towards living your life with your purpose?
Well, Jesus, I would say it wasn't that long ago. It's only, the reality is, I started learning what I know now about 5 years ago. But it's not up till 2.5, 3 years ago that something clicked. But if we go back, I was a heavy cocaine user. So, in my 20s, I gave up working when I was 20. And I just sold drugs for a decade. And I did well. I was a 7-figure cocaine earner. Yeah, so I did well. I was a businessman more so than anything, but I consumed a lot of cocaine because I was still in those dark realms of life. And then when I got to 29, I had a probation officer, and I'd been in a lot of trouble throughout my 20s and stuff. And he said, do you want to go to prison again? And I said, no. And I started crying. I'd moved from cocaine to gambling, and I ended up with nothing in the space of 18 months. So I ended up from having everything to having zero in the space of 18 months from gambling. And he said, listen, would you go to treatment? I said, yeah, let's do it. So I went to treatment, they paid for it. And I spent 4 months in a primary home, and I spent 10 months in another house. But what did they teach me? They taught me to say no. But I said after 3 months, this is bullshit. And they said, what do you mean? I said, none of us are taking drugs, but you're still talking about drugs. So what is this? This is a mindset. Rob, no, you're wrong. I said, I don't believe I'm wrong, and I know now to this day as I'm talking to you, I wasn't wrong. From there, I got out. I had nothing, but we go back to what my dad taught me. Hard work. Roll up your sleeves. I said, fuck it, let's do it. So I actually opened a gym out of scratch. I got a loan from a local charity of €400. The gym became very successful over the next 2 years. I got money, made money, invested the money, and then I went back taking cocaine. I had met the mother of a child, I had had a child, and that broke up because I was brought the same habits, the same shit behaviors into this relationship. Not too dissimilar to how my father treated my mother. Not very well. My family left. Now I was left in the shit again. Built the business, fucked it up. Built the business, fucked it up till Up till, yeah, a few years ago. I now live in Malta. I followed my son there. And I had a mentor who taught me about all of this type of stuff. He taught me how to, we will say, reprogram, redesign, upgrade how you think, upgrade how you talk. It's very specific work. But you need what you say. You need the discipline.
Yeah.
You need the grit. Life's not easy, but it is going to be as easy as you make it. This is what people, hard times are coming. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but what I fucking do know, if I stick to my system, I'll get through it. And then I've taken a little step forward on that. But people aren't willing to do hard. They're willing to do the easy, but they're not willing to do the hard. But the return, we want the return on investment. So you will take somebody that want to give a little, get a huge return. It doesn't work like that. You fucking give a lot and you get a small return, and that compounds over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So as I sit here talking to you now, when I started this brand, now I speak the truth because it's how I live my life. But when I had started out online 4 years ago, I was still taking cocaine. I was still doing cocaine every second week. Now, I wasn't doing what I do now, but then I started telling the fucking truth, and guess what happened? People start being attracted to my words, to how I held myself, to leading by my actions. And this is what I want the men to do. I don't point my finger, I don't judge, I don't tell people what to do. Listen, I can invite, if you come into my program, I can invite you to do it. Now, if you fuck up, be transparent, be truthful, but I will tell the man point blank to his face the truth. And nobody is willing to do that. Now, sorry, I wouldn't say nobody. There is other men. There's like yourself. You were willing to do it. But there's not enough men telling the truth. And I want the truth in return. So then this just absolutely multiplied then over the last 16 months. Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And listen, I've made a little bit of a dent, but I will make a far fucking bigger dent over the next coming years.
Oh, for sure,
it's very
man.
specific.
I know that without a doubt, man. Like that's that's a foregone conclusion almost. Just from the amount of time I've known you, like I don't see it being any differently. So when you talk about living a purposeful life, what does that look like for you, and how do you guide others down that path?
Like, listen, it's what we were saying earlier. It's about having an outcome. And people get caught up, oh, Derek, I don't know what to do. Right, first of all, how much money do you want to make financially? Okay, so most of them are business owners, but even if you were a career, you can be an entrepreneur. Just put a figure on it in 2 or 3 years. Not something you've achieved. People are creating these mini goals of, if we take the gym, oh, I'm going to lose 2 kilos. 2 kilos is fucking easy to lose. That's not a goal that's going to inspire anyone. It is creating an outcome that you have never achieved, that you are going, I don't believe I will achieve that. That's the good starting point, yeah? Then it is chunking that down into, I would say, 5 key steps. But we can change everything. So if you're somebody who drinks, smokes, fucking takes cocaine, whatever, we're not going to give up everything tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's create 1 or 2 better quality habits. We remove 1 or 2 low quality habits. Then what happens is we're big on stacking wins. So this is the habitual construction, but also to go a little bit deeper. We use conscious, subconscious. We show people a lot around that, but the work isn't easy. You have to show up and do the methods every day. Yeah. Then it's about stacking wins out in the open. So it's like I met you at the gym. We stacked the win. You were training hard. I was training hard. Now what's another win? Get up early. What's another win? Eat a good quality breakfast. What's another win? Eat the rest of your nutrition. What's another win? Fucking look after yourself. Go to work. Tell your missus you love her. Whatever it is, be a good dad. Now, the man who does that on repeat over and over and over is going to create a good feeling. And those good feelings come from doing the uncomfortable things, not the easy things. A lot of people want easy. And they make excuses as to why they don't have the money, why they don't have the relationships, or why they don't look as they want. So when the habitual construction part of it is rinse and repeat on the same fucking thing day in, day out. My program is broken into 12 lessons, right? So they go through this. They have specific content to look at every day. They have the coaching. They will be told the truth. If they step out of line, you will be told the truth. I'm not here to be a babysitter. But it goes back to what you're saying about creating purpose. That is a purposeful life. Every day you are taking a little step. Every day that compounds. So you do that for 100 days, you're going to have nice results. What I say, and I said, give yourself 12 months. When the man can step up, or the lady, for 12 months, and to do more of the right things, there's going to be fuck-ups, there's going to be some failures, but we extract the wisdom for that, we find a solution, we move forward. Their life will be completely transformed. Now, and I can say that because I speak from my own experience, because this is exactly what I've done for the last, we will say, 16, 17, 18 months. I've done the same thing. And I've absolutely upgraded and transformed. I looked very successful in my 20s. I had a lot of money. I had a lot of money in my teenage years. Throughout my 30s, I had money. But this is looking in on someone I wasn't. It was false. I was actually dying on the inside. I was unhappy. I had low energy, low mood, all of this shit. And you see, it's our state of mind, and I will be talking about this tomorrow. Our state governs absolutely fucking everything. Meaning, we're going to get a reaction from how we think or how we talk to ourselves, and that's going to attach a feeling. Now, our state then is going to drive our behavior. Our behaviors determine our results. So if we can manage our state, moment to moment, action to action, our behavior is going to change, and then we're in full responsibility for the results that we achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be careful what you tell yourself at night, because that shit is reality. Because if you keep telling yourself all these fucked up bad things, or you always believe the worst is going to happen, like, you're going to make that your reality. So you can either, like you said, stack wins and count the positives and have a plan to do more of those and tackle one at a time, or you can believe the other shit, because whatever you believe, that's going to be your reality. At least that's how I see it.
But this is it. You know, we think in pictures, we play videos. Now, it's not as easy. I'm not, by the way, any way suggesting positive thinking does not work. That's a load of bullshit, positive thinking.
Yeah.
We have to get in and do mental surgery.
Yeah.
We have to remove what's not working. Then the less easy work is replacing it with what will work. And then it's having the patience. It's having really the fortitude, the grit. And that's where we bring in discipline. That's where we bring in focus to actually implement the fucking blueprint. The blueprint we offer is real simple. So we show people how this works. We then show people how to change their behaviors, whereas the other system will just show you, just say no. Just say no to that, whether it's cigarettes, it could be anything, alcohol, drugs, it doesn't matter. But saying no isn't the answer. That's too simple. Yeah. Whereas, listen, man, all I'm trying to do is fucking lead as best I can. I'm not the perfect masterpiece. At the end of the day, we're perfectly imperfect, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
We're here to tell our truths. If somebody wants to listen, that's fucking great. If you don't, I don't give a shit at the end of the day. But it's like what you're doing here. You're building something of quality. You're putting it out to the world. If somebody takes the information, applies it, they will benefit from it. That's what we guarantee.
Absolutely, man. When you look back on your days of addiction, what do you think is one of the hardest lessons you learned?
A fucking lot. Let me take a sip of this coffee.
Yeah.
Good coffee, by the way. I needed it.
I'm glad we found you a good one, man. I felt bad for you saying you've had shit coffee all week.
From here on in, it's good coffee. Lessons. Listen, man, I just got in some fucked up situations. Like, that type of addiction. It was never ending. I did not want to live. I did not want to live. Like, when I think back in my 20s, we were making some fucking big money selling cocaine. But I was such a heavy consumer of it. I could not face reality. Again, it goes back to when I was a boy, what I said at the start of this, and I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I didn't want to be Derek Rowe from that young an age, as I can remember. That's sad. And I brought that then into my 20s, and I had molded a person I didn't want to be. I'd said about school, fight. I didn't want to go to school and fight. None of that was actually ever in me, this fighting thing. So I had built this shell and this persona and this alter ego that I didn't even fucking want to be, but I was pushed into this world, and I had to accept what I was. So, like, I used to break down. And I've never said this to many people. I'd break down in tears. I'd call my brother, I'd say, come in. And, like, I'm talking fucking stupid shit. I could have a 9-ounce bar of cocaine on the table by my fucking, like, this is stupid shit. A 10-year prison sentence waiting. But that's what I did. And, you know, they were dark moments, man. There was a lot of paranoia goes with that. But it was me not wanting to face reality. But also, the biggest part, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the skills. So when we talk about purpose now, and I look at my life there and I go, Jesus Christ, honestly, you know, I didn't want to live. I had thoughts, it's better end this now. No, I obviously didn't. But then I met the right man who actually did give a shit, who did have the knowledge, who did have the skills to show me. And then I mixed not only his knowledge, but I mixed my own wisdom. And that life experience has proved, man, it's improved invaluable to me. And this is what we were talking about not that long ago. Everybody has that life experience. Like, take the learnings from it. Take the learnings and fucking use them to benefit life and maybe benefit other people's lives. Because, you know, we talk about darkness. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out of it, but that was the worst moment. So there's no moment now can really faze me. Yeah, we can have bad days. This is another thing. People come to me and go, oh, listen, man, I'm in a bit of a rut. I'm in a bit of a, you know, not in a good place. Nothing seems to be, I'm doing everything, but I'm not getting the same feeling. This is fucking life. Of course you're not getting the same feeling. We're not always going to be happy, clappy, jumping around the place. We're going to have to grind our teeth sometimes and still do it and still fucking maybe put our feelings aside for a few days, maybe a few weeks, and you know what happens? You come out of it and you go, Jesus, I'm glad I went through that. Now the next time it happens, I look back, I've taken the experience, I've already been here. And this is what I see people, men within my community, because they're only used to feeling a certain way. Then now they have the experience, so they're getting, in my opinion, fucking top world-class leadership. And I'm able to say to them, no, man, you can't fucking count on motivation to get you through shit. You keep turning up, you utilize your skills, you take the content, you listen to it, you keep rinsing and repeating and applying, and this is a good experience. So the next time you go through a dark patch, we all go through it, man. We all have days, potentially weeks. But this is the minor difference in people absolutely succeeding.
Yeah, taking action.
Feeling and just remaining the same. And it's like these fucking idiots you meet. Oh, I never wanted, to do that well in that. No, you fucking accept it. And that's not a good place to be. Or never accept. This is about expanding our mind. It's about expanding our vision. But it's also about being able to look at ourselves. And it's always an inside job. It's never an out here job. Yeah, it's like what we talked about. Our thoughts are fucking real. How we talk to ourselves are real. It manifests out here. This is why with positive thinking, it's funny. Like if you're programmed and just say, I have somebody there and he tells me I am not confident. And then he starts telling himself I am confident. You're on God's mind goes, fuck you, motherfucker. You're full of shit. You have to prove it to yourself. When you prove it through your actions over and over, then that creates a different program once we understand how those pieces fit together and how it works out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people too that, and this is why I'm big on and you can't just, I think I talked about this not too long ago as well, but you can't just be that person that just reads the books, goes and sits in the back of the seminar or the coaching event, and people are so afraid to get a coach.
Yeah.
Like they're happy to get a coach sometimes if they want to lose some weight.
Yeah.
Or diet. That makes sense to them. But if they don't realize or don't want to come to terms with it, they're sucking with their business, sucking at their marriage, sucking at their,
Yeah.
you name it. The list can be long, but they tell them, you know, say, hey, I know this guy, Derek, he coaches this. They're like, oh, well, I mean, I can't see spending, you know, X amount for a coach here, but hey, man, I bought these books and stuff. Well, you're a guy that talks about it. You're not a guy that actually goes out and takes action and does it, man. Like, you need someone that inspires you, makes you want to go run through a brick wall at whatever it is that you're trying to get better at, or whatever demon you're trying to beat. Because so many people are like, oh, well, you're not putting any of that to use. Yeah, you read that book. What did you take from it? What are you actually doing with that? Where did you make a path for you to go down with that? And I think a lot of people get caught up in that they think that that's doing something. Well, not really. There's a whole nother level to that. Like, some people have to learn by doing. Some people can just read something and go about it, and that's great and all, but I think that percentage is very small. And the people that actually take action, cool, you can go to all that stuff, but it ain't gonna help you if you don't actually do it. I talked to a buddy not too long ago. He's gone to like all these things, and I'm like, well, shit, what are you doing with that now? It's like, have you implemented any of that? Like, what's working from it? He's like, man, I have all these ideas. Well, that's cool, bro. How much money did you spend to go to that? Yeah. And like, you're still same old person I know. Like, you're not doing anything differently. Like, I mean, I see you all the time, but I don't see anything's changed. So what did you take from that? No answer. I mean, there's a lot of that bullshit. And like, that's where I think people and I think people need to quit being so leery. I mean, because, if you're just following a bunch of influencers and bullshit on social media, that's a whole nother path you can go down. Like, you want to find the true leaders, people that are actually doing it, that have receipts.
Absolutely.
And that show their receipts. If you're trying to get fit and do this, you're going to let some 400 out of shape guy give you weightlifting advice? Like, no, go find the jack motherfucker over here that, like, like, he's putting in the work. Like, you can't look like that without doing the work.
Yeah. But this is it. It's the application, what you said. But people thrive. There's certain, it's like they're addicted to going to these seminars, like what you said. And they're going to all these seminars, they're spending and investing all this money. And they like the idea of doing it, but you see, then this comes down to belief system. This comes down to what I was saying to you, man, about programmed. So in their mind, they're doing the right thing, and they are doing the right thing by actually going and learning something. But then they do not follow it through. Something stops them. It's a behavior, it's a habit and a behavior that stops them. And this is where people need to understand. But this is also where they need to understand. Pick one fucking thing. What you see a lot of people, they're jumping around to the next thing. They'll jump from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other. And this goes back to your thing. You know, you asked me a question about purpose, and it came up in a conversation with you. Just pick one fucking thing and go all in at that. And we've all heard it, be the best at that. But the requirements are this. You pay a fucking price of sacrifice. You pay a price of, you see, the biggest, one of the issues of this world is motivation. Motivation, when we start anything, gym, new program, whatever, we're motivated. But that doesn't last any longer than a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What then? Life isn't like that. It's actually like this, but it is the man, the woman, the individual who can continually show up and rinse and repeat on just the basics. Get very uncomfortable, because the uncomfortable actions attach the best quality feelings, and the man who stacks up more quality feelings is the person who really will not be fucking stopped and will become an unstoppable force of fucking nature. No matter how they feel, they wake up, they do the A, B's and C's without expectation. That man will reach heights. That man will go places, and that man will create the wealth we talk about in those. There is only 4 important areas really to life. And that's your mental, starts with your mental. Have your state of mind in order. Bring that to your physical, bring that to your relationships, whatever your close relationships are, then fucking bring that individual into your career or business, and guaranteed you will be financially better off. I see it. I see it day after day. I see it in my own life. I see it in the guys I work with. They're all financially better off. Why? Because they're looking at themselves. They're improving themselves. They're upgrading themselves. And I'm sick of fucking some men in this world. You're just fucking pigs. That's all they do is talk and talk and talk without any action. Listen, it's time to step up. It really is for a lot of men out there. So if you're listening, step the fuck up.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think that's a good point, though, too, because even if you, and that's why I think the gym is such a good starting point, because trust in the fact that there are going to be many, many days that you don't want to do it. You can find a million excuses. That's also why I prefer to work out early in the morning. There's not many excuses that come at 5 a.m. I mean, your number one excuse is like, you fucked up the night before and you didn't come in prepared. Can you still go grind it out? I mean, are you going to go do that afternoon or evening workout because you slept in the morning? I mean, that's the first thing he said to me this morning was, man, I thought you worked out earlier in the morning.
I did say
and I was like, yeah, man, I had a little bit of later night. I had to move stuff around because I'm not going to miss it, though.
Yeah.
Because now I'm at the point where I've done it long enough that if I don't do it, I feel like shit. Yeah. And your whole world changes when you do that. But like, you got to be able to do it on the rainy day, the cold day, the day you don't want to do it. That grind is what creates those habits and that discipline. Maybe you can talk to us about outside of yourself, maybe somebody you've coached, like what was a breakthrough success story with somebody that you helped out? Like, what's one that stands out for you that was, or maybe it was the first one, the first person you really helped. What was that like?
There's so many, right?
Yeah.
But you see, the funny thing about my program, obviously a lot of my reels are fucking hard hitting in your face, calling people out around cocaine especially. But there's lads like, I remember we were doing a group coaching, and a few of the guys said, up, listen, Derek, even if we didn't have, if cocaine wasn't an issue, this program massively benefits anybody, because again, it's getting them to look inwards. But like, if you look at it from a personal level, there's a lot of marriages coming back together, because you have a lot of men who are not looking after themselves. They look after, a lot of men in our program have the finances to look after, so they will throw money at the problem. I was one of these men as well. I would fucking throw money at the problem. But the family gets no emotional support, it gets no guidance, it gets no leadership. To me, that's a fucking pussy, right? At the end of the day. Now, when they come and learn, again, it's how to control your because your state, again, your audience really want you to understand this. Your state is everything. Your state governs everything. Your state drives your behaviors, and your behaviors are going to determine your results at the end of the day. So when we get that part right, then we start looking at the habits, then we start stacking wins. That energy transfers, man, to everybody. So if your wife, and a lot of their wives, they might have left them, but they still love them and they still want them to do better. And then they fucking see them, man. They see the growth. And that comes back together. I don't need money for this shit, for what I do. The drug, I get the drug of life, which is the best fucking drug, the adrenaline, the buzz, from hearing these stories, right? And you see, the biggest part of it is, for me, we talked about growing up. I don't blame my mum and dad. I fucking have so much respect for the two and for my family, but they didn't know, they didn't have these skills. So I'm blessed to have skills, which is, again, essentially what we were talking about, having purpose to be able to offer the world. And what happens then is, not only the marriages, but the future youth is getting looked after. So the kids are in a better environment. Then they go into their business. Like, you've guys going, man, from fucking, like, I'm talking mad fucking stories, like if spending 20 grand a week, hookers, cocaine, strip clubs while their wife is at home, smoking fucking crack. These fellas are making, some of them making a few million a month. Now they're making 6 million a month. Things like that. So the revenue is doubling, but it's not that. That's the byproduct. The money is the byproduct. It's actually when they look at themselves. And I I don't tell you what to do. I don't judge you, but I can invite you to do it. I will tell you the fucking truth because I am your friend. I will tell you the truth to your face. That will create a reaction because we want the positive reaction. But if we don't, that's okay. We can look at that. But when they start actually going inwards instead of looking outwards for the problem, and they look at themselves inwards, that's where the growth is. That's where the confidence comes from. That's where we will start building that momentum towards a better life. They don't want to go back because they look back and they go, shit, man, I've stacked up so many successes, so many of these wins. I'm happier. My family are happier.
Yeah.
Fucking business is thriving. These are just the byproducts of it. So there's so many. I can't pinpoint one because there's so many of these stories that come out of the work, and our community is strong. We have a thriving community that's supportive, that's full of leaders. Like I have a guy that was out to Hell's Angels in Denmark, and he's a mad cunt, like. And now he's a close friend, like. Do you know, he's a Danish guy, and if he's listening, he probably will listen. He will know who I'm talking about. But this guy was obviously, Hell's Angels. It's violence, it's cocaine, it's drinking. The man is completely transformed and reformed, and relationships are solid. He's out of that. He's an exceptional father, but he's an exceptional person. That's within us all. We're exceptional beings, but we do fucking unexceptional shit. Too much. That's men need to be men. We also need to be masculine. Like we're in the gym today, yeah. And we're going to go gorilla mode tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Before the event.
I'm trying to get myself ready for this.
So, like, I can't go to specifics because there's so many of them. And this is pretty much in a short space of time of really between 16 and 18 months. And it will only grow. It will only get stronger. This community that I'd like to say I built, but it's not just me. My team were just fucking good people that want to do better. That's the difference.
Yeah, and I think if you really look deep when you're looking for these coaches and you look into people like that, hey, find somebody that's been there and done it.
Absolutely.
That you can see and that has the receipts and the track record to prove it. And vet these people out, man. Like I'm Ryan's been talking about this a lot lately, is like the transformation on social media from influencers to fucking leaders. Yeah. And I can't wait to see more of these influencers go away, man. Like I hate that word. Like influencer drives me absolutely crazy. Because excuse me, you think about it, who wants to be influenced?
Yeah.
Like, you want to be influenced? No, I want to learn some shit. I want to see the dude that's doing it and learn from him. Like I want that dude as my mentor. Like I want to hang out with that person. It's building those relationships and networking and doing that kind of work, not just like watching a bunch of, because this shit can be an addiction too. You just hop on here and you're just watching shit and scrolling all day long. And it's like, what good's that going to do you? 100%. Because most people on social media, they're only putting their best foot forward. It's like dating. Yeah. Like that early dating, you don't see any of the ugly, the bad. Everybody's just showing you their best side. You ain't seen them have a bad day yet. Yeah. You ain't seen them hit rock bottom. My wife and I now, we've been together dating / married for 15 years. We've seen it all. We've been through a lot of shit. But, finding someone that you get through all that shit with. Yeah. But social media and stuff, man, it drives me nuts. And a lot of times it's like, I wish I could just get rid of it. But with what I do and everything else, no getting away from that. Now I try to set habits of not being on it all the time and got to post your content, got to get that stuff recorded. Now I'm trying to be a little better because I heard people like Ryan Stewman and yourself talking about how you guys do it. And it's like, all right, cool. I record all my content on this day and this day. And then I schedule that shit out. Well, I'm over here going, well, shit, I'm not as good on this. So I got to figure out how to set that shit in here, time schedule it out so that I'm not just bombing everybody on one day with a whole bunch of content and getting that out there. But there's so many angles to go down this road with, man. It's just crazy what people get caught up in.
Well, it is crazy, but I'll tell you one thing, man. It's like this conversation. People want real now. I think we've gone through a phase. Now, America, listen, you've had an interesting moments with the recent election. I'm not going to mention names, but
Yeah.
it's been fun for the Americans and for the rest of the world, where there's a lot of individuals in the world that are in it for themselves, okay, at the minute. But there's also a lot of good people. And listen, it's the same online. But what people want now, they don't want any more bullshit. People realize a lot of people on Instagram are full of shit.
Yeah.
They want real. They want fucking reality. They want truth now. Because they've been fed a lot of bullshit. And this is, the cause for a lot of how people are acting, how they're reacting, and how all this comparison stuff, and they're not feeling themselves because, Jesus Christ, they've seen somebody online and they're just the perfect human being. That's not the reality, okay? The reality is, it's what we're talking about here. We show up. We can look at ourselves in the mirror and go, okay, do you know what? I like these parts, but I can work and I can adjust these other parts. And it's always looking for, it doesn't happen overnight, but it is the compound effect. You see what? I like seeing this picture. I don't know if you've seen it. You might have seen it. It's a guy with a pick hook, and he's in a tunnel. It's like a fucking cave, actually. He's picking out, and he gives up. But what he doesn't realize, one more hit and he's out. He's freed. So it's like he's a prisoner within this cave. And this is what happens to a lot of people. They go, "Oh, I'm not getting the result," and their expectations are fucking huge. I say to people, have zero expectations, expect the best from yourself. But people are always wanting something. If I do this, I get that. If I do something, I get that. Or if I do. So I'm going to do you a favor, Garrett. And in my mind, I want something back. This is how people operate. No. I do you a favor. You've done me. Listen, man, you've been absolutely a quality host from me. Everyone I've met over here has been a quality host. They're not expecting anything from me. But this is how a lot of the world operates. They'll go, "Oh, I will help you." But in their mind, they will want something back. That's not how the fucking universe is going to give anything back. So, no, we want to hear the truth, but the biggest truth has to be told by ourselves. Hey, do you know what? I don't like this part about me. I can speak about it now. If I can speak about it, then I'm going to have to take an action to adjust it, to put that fucking right. And that's what the world needs. They need to look at themselves, hold themselves, self-accountability, personal responsibility, and then somewhat to strive towards personal excellence.
Yeah, I think they've also got to forgive themselves a little bit. Like you gotta get down that road, man. Like we all fuck up. We all make mistakes. We all go down paths we shouldn't go down.
Yeah.
And you gotta self-correct. You gotta pivot. You gotta make changes. You can't just keep doing the same bullshit, or that's gonna be a miserable life.
Fuck that.
I can't imagine that. That's not a life I want to live. I don't know about you, but I definitely don't.
No way, man. But people are just accepting mediocrity. Like, listen, you just look at certain people and you'll ask them, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with what I have. But you fucking know deep down they've given up. They've fucking given up because potentially they don't have the learnings. I just feel people are fucking lazy. And they want everything given to them because it looks quite easy when you're on Instagram. I say this if I'm doing a reel. I said, okay, what I'm saying sounds easy, and even when I'm coaching, it's not though. So I make a point very clear at the start. I'd say, yes, it does sound easy, and a lot of people. But at the end of the day, we're by ourselves a lot of the day. It's when we're by ourselves is what counts. It's when we have to wake up like you go to the gym at 5 a.m. Me and you are going to be in the gym early tomorrow. I don't want to fucking get up at 4 a.m. I don't want to eat eggs at fucking 4:30. I don't want to go train at 5. But guess what? It'll happen at 6. I'll feel like a fucking champion. Now my state is right. Then I will do a little mindset reset. Then I will go for more food, and then I'll go and talk. Jesus Christ, that's a good day. We don't want to do any of this, but it's the construction bar. So we want to be in construction, not destruction. But most people are in self-destruction, like I was, man. I lived most of my life in self-destruction. So I know what I talk about, I know. I'm certainly not sitting here fucking saying I know everything. I don't know everything. But the subjects I talk about, I know.
Absolutely, man. I think it's kind of like we were talking about at the gym earlier. we're talking about, I told you that I really liked that you and I communicate mostly through voice messages. It's not just text.
Yeah.
And I told you, like, my buddy Kenny got me on that like, people want to hear your voice. Like, you should be, get out of this habit of just texting everything. Text has no tone. It has no feeling. It has no emotion. Let them hear your voice. Go down that path. That's a total different mindset. And that alone, that's like the smallest change in the world. But you got to it's those little things like that a lot of times. It's not even have to be something big. But, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I am dreading like hell. Tomorrow's Saturday. Like, that's supposed to be recoup. I've already know I'm not speaking at the event or anything. He is. But, like, we've got this whole plan to get up early as shit. Tonight's date night for me and my wife. That's why I'm not going to watch the fight tonight. Like, we got a date night thing. So, I already know it's going to be a little bit later of a night. It's going to suck getting up at 4:30 in the morning and heading to the gym. But you know what? We're going to go do it. We're going to knock it out. And then, like you said, by the time we're done working out at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, had our breakfast, and we're headed over to the event. Yeah. And the event is not short. This thing is like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah. It's going to be a long-ass day, but I guarantee you that whole day is going to be that much better because we got up, got our grind in. We're going to come in with the right mindset. We're going to be ready to go for it. And it's that habit.
But this is it. And it's the rinse and repeat. It is doing the uncomfortable things over and over. And it's what I touched on earlier on. That's what gives us the best quality feelings. The easy route gives us the instant self-gratification. Yeah, it makes us feel comfortable. But the reality of that, the results are fucking shit long term. Whereas what you've just explained, it's doing that. It's the basics done to a high standard. Because if you want to you can continue doing low-level activities, which fucking deliver low-level results, or do high-level activities, which lead to high-level results. We all have the choice on a day-to-day. But like what you said, we both know that's uncomfortable, but we both know the feeling from that is unbelievable. And then that sets up the rest of the day. Then we are in construction. So think about it from when you wake up. If you can get a little win, that could be just eating a solid breakfast. That could be just getting up at a certain time. Jesus Christ, by the time it's 12
We're going for a walk.
But this is it. But by the time it's 12 o'clock, you have a load of wins. This is what I teach as well. To go along with all the mindset. Like, mindset is great, and there's a load of mindset coaches. Like these little life coaches going around, they're 22. You're not a fucking life coach, man. You need experience. What am I? I'm a life coach, mindset coach mixed in, but we have to understand the mind, but we also have to understand it's the work ethic, it's the self-accountability, the personal responsibility. All of these things fucking mixed in is what makes the man. And to construct that man, you go, do you know what? I actually like him. He's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? I respect him. And we're talking about ourselves here, and we hold ourselves in high esteem. Therefore, if we hold ourselves in high esteem, we're respecting ourselves through doing what we're saying.
I mean, this is a perfect example. I'm going to be totally transparent here. I have my battles with this shit. Yeah. I mean, I will tell you point blank. For the last 3-4 months since I've really got back into the gym hardcore, I had a burnout. I was like 65 pounds overweight a year ago. Went through this huge journey, lost 55 pounds. Wow. And then I kind of burnt myself out. And I let some travel and things build into a week out of the gym, 2 weeks out of the gym. Then all of a sudden it's been 3 months and I ain't been in the gym. And I'm like, Garrett, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get your ass going again. You're coming home. You're tired all the time. And not tired because you put in the work and you just need a nap. I'm a great napper. Yeah. You tell me I got 10-minute nap, man, I'll nap for 9 of those 10 minutes. I have no problem sleeping, especially if I've been out grinding. So, those are real things. So I'll say personally, what's worked for me, because my schedule can be crazy. I do like to work out in the mornings, but sometimes, man, I have to get in at the end of the day. And you know what? It kind of wrecks other things for me, but I'm not going to miss that. Yeah. Like, I'm going to find a way, unless my body is telling me, like, hold up, you've gone too hard, you need to take a break. But I'm not taking more than a day off and not getting back into that routine. Otherwise, all that other shit steps in. But it's not easy. Like, he started telling me about what his plan is for a workout tomorrow, and I'm like, holy shit, I haven't just torched like a single 1 or 2 body parts in a while. I've been doing full body workouts, and I'm looking at this beast walking up in the gym who I had never even met in person, and I saw him and I was like, that's fucking Derek. I'm like, and we started talking.
Strange, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just I was like, I know that's him. I know that's him. I just told him about this gym. He already had some other gym things lined up and whatnot, but he showed up this morning, so that was cool. But he's talking about killing it tomorrow morning. I'm like, shit, I've already done chest 5 days this week. You know, like, granted, I'm not killed it, but I'm like, now I'm going to go work out with this beast and another guy from Apex that I don't even know if I've met yet. And, hey, fuck it. We're going to go do it. But, you know, like I said, even in all this, too, this isn't always easy for me. My wife is a night person. I'm a morning person. That's a tough balance, man. We've had to, like, figure this out. She hates that my alarm clock goes off at 5 a.m., and she's maybe in her best REM sleep at that point. And sometimes she can go back to sleep, but most of the time she can't. My wife sleeps about 4 hours to 5 hours on a good night. Yeah. This causes a problem for us. I'm not even going to lie. Like, she's like, great, you're going hard in the gym again. Guess I'm getting 4 hours of sleep because you're going to wake me up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. when you're leaving out the door, and now I'm stuck up. And same thing. I have to make sacrifice sometimes too because she wants to stay up and spend time with me at night. Most of the time, I'm in bed by 9 and asleep before 10 because I get up at 5 a.m. But you know what? Sometimes it's sacrifice. Sometimes I stay up till 11, 11:30, and guess what? I either alter my schedule or, man, maybe I just got to push through that day. Yeah. There are sacrifices, but it's not going to become an excuse just because we operate differently. We've found a way to make it work over 15 years. You know, like, you can do that too. Like, don't let a bullshit excuse like that stop you from pursuing something. Like, you've got to, if there's a will, there is a way. I know that sounds corny and cheesy, but you will find ways to make things work if you want that thing bad enough.
Well, you have to be willing to pay the price.
Yeah, I mean,
we discussed it earlier. Like, you know, that price is showing up, that price is doing things we don't want to do on repeat. It's your energy, it's your time. In a lot of ways, it's your fucking investing into yourself. It's investing into a potential mentor, a potential coach. If you don't have the money, fucking go buy books, go read books online. You people have to be willing to pay the price in order to move forward. Simple as.
Yeah. And I will tell you guys this too, because I think this, and I mean, I want you guys check his stuff out. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram a whole lot. You guys go check him out. It's D Rowe Method. You can find him very easily. Check it out. I'm telling you, you know, another way you know somebody is really legit, and I can tell you this because we've been talking for a little over a month now. He has not once asked me, do you want to be a part of my program? Do you want me as a coach? Not once. Do you know how fucking rare that is? Like, you guys see the guests I have on here, and I mean, a lot of them coach, do different things. He's not asked me once, not one time. There was no other, hey, if I come on your show or any of this bullshit, like none of it. We both legit said, this is a good thing for me. This is a good thing for you. Let's do it. There was no other bullshit. So, you know, you found somebody real that actually legit cares and wants to do shit when you like vet somebody out and see this shit. So I'm telling y'all right now, like, what you see here is what you get. Like, he is not fucking around. This is not, you're not gonna get some PowerPoint, get email blasted from him or any of this other shit like you get from some of these other clowns that you'll see on there. And like, once you click on one little thing, you're just getting inundated with, you know, my Grant Cardone 10X system or whatever. And I have nothing against Grant Cardone. That's not a shot. I mean, I think Grant does great things, but I'm just saying, if you've ever clicked on one of those links, you know exactly what I mean, because he has a massive team and they are going to annihilate you with emails, IMs, DMs, you name it. That shit's coming. Yeah, so Who are some of the people you follow? And it's like, I mean, you and I got to talk about my shirt because you're a big fan of Sean Whalen, just like I am. And we've talked about Bedros and some of those things. Who are some people that you look up to and that you're following because you think they're putting out good content?
I like Andy Frisella. I follow. No, I knew you'd like that.
I knew you were going to say that.
I've been following him for years, even when I was into shit, and I was just there. Fuck, he's a cool story as well. He's a very cool story, but it's like straight up, it's not easy to achieve. It's the truth as well, and you see people be designed now to expect easy, and then when they don't reach, we will say, or achieve the goal from doing minimal work,
a participation
like,
trophy.
What the fuck, like, is wrong? Yeah, exactly. Fucking bullshit that's going on now. I tell my son this. I go, listen, if you're not winning, listen, get the fuck out there and win. He plays a lot of football, and I said there is no prize for second place. It's either it's win or nothing. So you try your best. But I like him because, again, he's truthful. There's not many people out there telling the truth on what it does take, the consistency it takes, the time it takes to achieve. So he is a cool fella, and I've followed him for many years. When I was into shit a good few years ago, I was still listening to him. I've gone back listening to him again. I'd went off for probably a couple of years. He doesn't post that much, but his podcast is pretty decent. So he's one cool dude. Trying to think of anybody else that I follow. There's not.
You know what I love about Andy though too? Like watch him. Like I want to go to one of his things sometime, but I like it too. Like there's so many people that want to sugarcoat and give you all this like talk and hype, but like not really call it real. You get none of that with Andy Frisella. He is going to call you out if you are. I mean, you just watch him and he makes these guys take off their shirts and shit, and like he'll challenge them. He'll bet them $25,000 that in 6 months they can't have a six pack. I mean, like crazy shit. But he gets after people and he is real. There is no. He ain't gonna lighten up for you. No. He's not gonna use words that don't offend you or worry about hurting your feelings. I mean, I think our generation, because we just wanted to give, and I don't have children, so I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say that, but I mean, I watch a lot of people. We just wanted to give them everything. We didn't want them to have the harder times that we had or that we know our parents had.
Absolutely.
We just want to do that, but look what it's created. It's created kids that feel like they should get a participation trophy for every damn thing. No, that doesn't happen in life. There's not just winning on every level. Like, you need to fail. You need to have losses. You learn great lessons from failures and losses. Like, you've got to have that mental fortitude and that grit to get past that, to pick up the things in that loss and not just sit there and be like, oh, I lost today. I'm going to go cry in the corner and eat a whole bag of potato chips. And, hey, here, son, we're going to stop at 7-Eleven and get you Slurpees and
some
all
people
this
need
shit.
a fucking slap. Simple as.
Yeah.
We're learning our way to success at the end of the day. And a part of learning our way to success is coming up with, is failures. But, like, it's again goes back to what can we take the learnings from that? Instead of, like, losing our shit when this happens, it's actually going, okay, what has to happen now for me to find a solution here? So it's actually been way more solution focused. This shit should be taught at school. So yeah, man, I'm full agreements too. Things are a little bit soft now, but again, it goes back to, I believe there is enough people in this world, enough good people, enough great people to make the changes that are required to show people what is necessary for them to step up and for them to fucking thrive, man, at the end of the day. And that's, for me, listen, anyone I come into contact with, if I can leave a good feeling, I've done a good job. If they want to come join my program, that's fucking great. But it's not for everybody. Again, you have to be willing to do the work. A lot of people are in this thing of, we talked about people investing money, and I could tell you a big star out there, people invest a lot of money and they get fuck all back, but I'm not going to mention names, but these people that go to these seminars, like fucking junkies, keep going. They get nothing to show for all the money. It's paying for this information. You've said it. Unless you apply it, you're at nothing. Power is not knowledge unless you apply the fucking knowledge.
Absolutely. So who else? You got Andy out there. Who else is somebody that's inspired you, somebody you follow?
Well, no, I'm going to give a name, a man who saved my life, and he's not even online. His name is Michael Conley, and I do want to give him a shout because this is the guy who I met 5 years ago, and I walked into his office. Family had gone. She was still using cocaine. Going around bullshit talking to myself, and he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Oh, depressed." Here's the way it was. I'm depressed. I have anxiety. He said, "Shut the fuck up." I said, "What?" And he said, "Where is your anxiety?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I have it." He started looking around like this. He said, "Where is it?" And I was getting angry now at this stage. But then I started laughing, and he broke the bullshit. And then he started teaching me the structure of how our mind, which I will teach a bit tomorrow, but like there's only so much I can do in an hour, you know? And that man gave a shit. That man cared. And that's a missing link with a lot of, I would say, coaching. I've invested a lot of money in coaching. And in some of the people we've been talking about, they're not the names we've mentioned. And they've been shit. It was only money they were after. There was a non-existent program. Whereas that man went over and beyond. That man genuinely wanted me to do well. And he's like a father to me, so I have to mention him as number one.
Yeah.
And he's not out for the fame. He's just not. He's just sat back. He's not into the whole social media thing. And he's a man that changed my life and has changed a lot of people's fucking lives where we're from in Ireland. So 100%, man, he's the number one for me. Then I like we've talked about Andy Frisella, and there's not many more. To be honest with you, I put my head down and I do my own thing.
Oh yeah.
And I move forward. we can read books. I like reading most days. But again, it's like going back to what we've discussed as well. Fucking read all these books. What are you doing with the books? Yeah. Read the same book. I read the same book continuously. And I just think, okay, I can use that now. Cool. Another few pages. Cool, I can use that now.
What's the favorite book of yours?
I like, it's Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. Fucking brilliant book, man. Get it. Get the book for the listeners and the viewers, because that's right. The story is this. He was a plastic surgeon. I think it was back in the 50s and 60s. Pretty sure he's dead now. And just say I was unhappy with a facial feature, and it was lowering my confidence and self-esteem. So I go in and I go, hey, I want to get, okay, no problem. So I could come out and I'm a different person. You notice, Jesus, Derek is now confident, he's fucking outgoing. But then he'd notice someone else come in to do the surgery, and there was no change in their personality. And they didn't even believe they got the surgery. So he said it was going a lot deeper on self-image, and it's another thing we teach a lot about. So it's around self-image. It's around, again, the deeper structure of our mind. Fucking phenomenal, life-changing book.
I will definitely check that out, because I have not read that book. I will definitely check that out. You know, talk about, you and I had this conversation a little bit on the way over here, and you kind of mentioned it a minute ago, talking about your mentor, the guy that helped you out, and that he was, you know, he doesn't want the publicity. He's just a guy that helps people. But you were telling me something I thought was interesting, and I told you you think that there's not as much of that in America, but I think there's a good amount of it too. But you said there's a whole nother culture in Ireland where when you do start making your come up and you do show these things, that they straight up will like push you back down.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Listen, okay, you're going to get it everywhere, but what I do see in America, like, the American dream is real, and there is more opportunity here, because if people like you and they see you're doing good for the world, they will want to promote you. It's not necessarily like that, I would say, Ireland, UK, potentially Europe. Whereas, you know, it's like the person in the big house and they go, fuck them, and it's all jealousy type of shit. Mm-hmm. Whereas this conversation actually came up within my group last week. Somebody had said, it was a guy I worked with in Australia actually, and he said, fucking hell, man, he's actually an entrepreneur within a career. Very good, earns good money, but he's stepped up. And now people who he used to be very friendly within work aren't the same anymore. And I explained this to him. I said, Luke, listen, brother. I said, you were fucking soft, so you let people away, and they're happy when you're down there because, you know, you're drinking with them, you're fucking taking drugs. You know, it's low-level activities. So they're happy when you're there. It's the same energy, but you've now stepped up in the last 2 months. And when I said it to him, he was going, fuck yeah. So now they're not identifying with him. They're nearly, oh, Jesus Christ, what's going on here? Because
he's not one of us.
It's the fucking mirror you're shining on people. Like, it's what I do. I am a mirror for somebody. I am the mirror. This is the truth. If you don't like it, fuck off. But, you know, some people will then take it and they go, yeah, I actually want to develop myself. I want to work on myself. So, yeah, there's a big culture of that, of a person within a group does a little bit better. And then they're condemned. They got lucky. They're this and that. Oh, they're not the same. The person, of course, they've fucking changed, or we've changed. We've upgraded. Everybody has a choice. You choose whatever you choose on a day-to-day basis. You choose to do the work, you choose not to do the work. You choose to be a fucking idiot, then that's what you'll be.
Absolutely. Well, for the hardcore cigar people, I got to not forget to do this because they will beat us up later on online. Yeah. Everybody always wants to know what we're smoking, what we're drinking. So as far as drinking, we are drinking some like super black, strong ass coffee up here at ICC, some water, and what we are all smoking. And you guys, I want to give a big shout out to my guy, Jose. You guys don't hear him. He's not mic'd or anything today. He stepped up for Biz. You know, Biz had a family thing he had to be away for, and we had to make this show happen. And Jose stepped up with his services. I don't know if y'all can tell a difference in the show, but like he brought extra lights. He's got a whole nother camera set up. Like he's got his shit together. So you guys, if you're needing services like that, for any of you guys that follow me and listen on here, I know several of you have podcasts. So if you're here in DFW and you need some help with something, hit Jose Olide up. He's a great dude. He's been running the boards over there for us, man. You guys take care of him. Give him a follow. See what he's up with, because I'm telling you, he's been a lifesaver today. Yeah. I was super stressed out about this. I have never had anybody other than Biz or Brandon run the boards and do this shit, because I know jack shit about that part of this podcast thing. I knew I wanted to do a podcast. I found the right people, and my wife's probably super happy because I'm that all-in guy.
Is she looking at us?
Oh, yeah, she's been on here. She said hello. But I would have gone out. I'd have had to buy the best shit, the best camera. I wouldn't have known shit about running it, and I'd have been trying to piece this together. And this would have been a bullshit-ass show for a long time if I didn't do it the other way. And, you know, Biz is my guy, and we work well together. I know you guys missed Biz this week, but Jose's been running it over there for us. So thank you, man. I appreciate it
thank
greatly.
you. You've been a legend, Jose. Absolutely, brother.
And so as far as what we're smoking, man, I wanted to do something special because Derek just started smoking cigars here and there.
Here and there, we would
very
say.
Recently. So we are smoking the famous Atabey Black Ritos. So I don't know what you think about that one so far.
I think they're top quality.
Yeah, they're solid cigars.
Top quality human provides top quality cigars.
Yeah.
On top quality hospitality. So appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So before we wrap this up, what's next for you, Derek? What do you plan to expand with your business, and how do you continue to influence people? What do you got planned for us?
Yeah, I've got a lot planned. Listen, I believe we're only scratching the surface at the moment. We're in 24 different countries, so we're 24 different nationalities within our program. We've done it all organically. We've done it all organically. It's not that old. The reality is it's really only 16 months old, this Brandy Rowe method. A lot has happened. A lot of good has happened. And there's a lot more to do. And how we're going to do that will be through our results. Will be through a little bit different marketing to reach more people. You know, I've never done paid advertising. Paid advertising is certainly a field I want to look at. There is doing more podcasts. There is, my name will get out there. It comes back to what I said. You do more the fucking right things without expectation. The energy will come back to you. You put good energy out, you're going to get a return on an investment eventually. I'm not looking for it, but I know by being by living, we will say, living through the truth through my heart, wanting to do better for the world, not perfectly, but wanting to do better for the world, only good shit is going to happen from there.
Absolutely,
so I've no
brother.
doubt in my mind. 5 years time, I know exactly where I'll be. I know where I'll be in 2 years. I know what house I'll be in. I want more kids. I want a lot more, man. But I will only get that through the work I'm currently doing and by continuing that work and spreading the specific message, because my message is specific, my teachings are specific, and at the end of the day, I know it works, but the person has to fucking do the work. The work works when the person is willing, when the person is able, when the fucking person is committed, and then, like you said, disciplined. So everything is there for me to claim, and I'm going to go and fucking claim it.
Hell yeah, brother. That's awesome, man. All right, so we wrap up every show with 2 little segments. So since it's called Common Sense the Podcast, we like to do this little segment here. If you got to leave your son with one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
That's a good question to hit me with the end of this podcast. Listen, I've said it there not too long ago. The world requires leaders. It is lead by your fucking actions, not by your words, by your actions. And the truth will come from your heart. And when you are completely honest within yourself, you have fucking integrity, the world will give back and you will do well through all those combinations we talked about today.
That's awesome, man. I like that a lot. That's solid. Solid advice for everyone, not just his son. Now's the fun one. I love to see where you go with this. So we like to call this my 2 cents. So if there's something that's maybe, striking you today that your words, your message you want to put out there, maybe it's something I didn't go deep enough on. Maybe it's something that you just feel called that you want to talk about. This is just your segment to give them your 2 cents as we wrap this up.
Listen, we talked about purpose. My purpose is fucking clear. It is simple. It is to get this message out to as many people as I can. Why? The reason being, I have been through the shit. I've been in the darkness. I have lived a fucking mad fucking life. And I'm now using those experiences to fucking guide other people, to lead other people. Remember this, people. People do not need help. You're not helpless. None of us here are helpless. Yes, we require guidance and leadership, and we require the truth being told. That's what a good friend will tell you the truth. I will be your fucking friend. I will tell you the truth to get a fucking spark, to get the reaction that is required. I will show you how to rewire your mind. I will show you how to construct a life that you fucking desire, and do not give up on like 99% of other people. I'm not talking motivation. I don't give a fuck if he's a highly motivational person. No, I want to see results. The results to create the life and to construct that life is through taking more of the right actions. I am a man who will be willing to stand shoulder and shoulder with anybody who respects me. I will show the respect back. But don't disrespect me, because I will fucking tell you the truth and I will come down on you. Sometimes we need that. We need somebody in our life who's willing to do that for us. But you, the people, have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to pay the price of your commitment, of your time, of investing the 2 of those things into learning new skills. Can I show you that? Of course I can show you that. I have skills. Again, I don't know everything, but the 2 or 3 things I do know will and can transform your life when you apply it to your life. You can take this information, you can marinate in what we've talked about, and then you can actually go out and apply it to each and every part of your life and upgrade it, because this is about creating upgraded individuals who go to their families, who go to their friends, who go to their communities and show them these teachings. And that's what I want. I want this to multiply out and fucking reverberate, if that's even a word. I can't even think about the word is God. Yes, around the fucking world. That's the purpose.
Hell yeah, man. Brother,
Yeah.
I want to thank you, man.
Absolute
It's
pleasure.
been a blast sitting down
Absolutely.
with you. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. If you're just now tuning in or if you missed some of this, don't worry. Next week and throughout the weekend, I will get this up and online this weekend. I still owe you guys the episode from Tuesday if you missed it as well. These episodes, yeah, you guys are going to say I'm blowing you up with content, but hey, this is what this week happened. Biz is out next week again. I've got Brandon coming in here, and we're going to have another banger show for you guys. It'll be Thursday next week, like our normal time, normal spot. You guys will be able to catch that. If you guys have questions about this show, you want to get up with Derek, hit me up, slide into the DMs. I'm happy to connect you guys and happy to be out there with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show. We'll see you guys again next week. Peace.
See you, lads.